types of data. Okay, so basically there are two types of data, right? One is a qualitative, the other is your quantitative. Okay, like what I mean by qualitative is it is a descriptive piece of information, right? Like in textual data also you can represent it, like you may say what a nice day it is, right? It is a qualitative data. It tells you about the quality of the data, right? Nice day it is, right? Now you will be converting it. So before getting the once you get the data, right, before performing any calculation or performing any process, your job is to figure out whether the data is your qualitative or quantitative, or you may say categorical. In the terms of machine learning, you may say it as a categorical or numerical, right? So once you figure out the data is your categorical and numerical, then you can take your steps that you will be following as a process, right? And then quantitative data will be like your numerical information, like 1, right? 1 is your numerical data, okay? And 3.65, right? This is your numerical data. Let me take an example, like if I say good, or so if I take bad, okay? Bad and good and excellent, right? If I say what kind of data is this, can you tell me what kind of data is this out of these two?
Quantitative?
Exactly, right? It is no, wrong. You said quantitative?
Yeah, because you're saying that it's like, no, qualitative, sorry.
Exactly, right? So this data is your qualitative, like descriptive piece. It describes the data. If I talk about numerical data, suppose say I convert this in numbers from ranging from 0, right? If I for bad, I will be using a 0 as a notation to denote it as a bad. And if I use good, I will be using 1. If I use excellent, I will be using 2, right? So now what kind of data is this? This is your quantitative data, right? You would have seen in your ratings, like you would have purchased, if you purchase some item on Amazon or some e-commerce website, you can give your ratings, like you may either give a rating in textual data like good, bad, or something like that. And also there are a rating like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, right? So this is your quantitative data. Like the techniques that you will be using to deal with this data will be different from the techniques you will be using to deal with this data. You got that? So why we have to understand whether the data is qualitative and quantitative, because the techniques, right, that we'll be using to process the data, like we have to process that data, that the data is coming in, right? So we can take the informed decisions and insights from that data. So once we figure out whether the data is qualitative and or the data is qualitative, then we can move to the next further step and then perform the techniques that we have, like the tools that we have. Okay, right?
Yeah.
So let me remove all these things so that I will be sharing you this PDF so that you can go through it once, right? After this class or whenever you get time to just revise the concepts, right? Okay. So in quantitative data, like we have there are the types of data, right? Qualitative and quantitative. Now again, there are types of quantitative data, right? So like the numerical data, here you have numerical data 1 and 3.65. Again, we have type of this quantitative data. Like for example, like quantitative data may be your age, right? Age of any person. This may be your quantitative data. Like let's take another example, like your price of a house, price of an house. Like this is your quantitative data, right? So now again, there are types of quantitative data. Like an example is your discrete data and the other is your continuous data, right? Like discrete data will be on like a fixed numbers, right? There will be a certain fixed number inside this range, right? Like the number of months. Like number of months will be some fixed number, right? It can't go above like a certain value. Like you can't say like more than 1,000, all max to max, right? And starting from 0, right? And for continuous data, you don't have any limit. Like you can start from 0 to infinity, not infinity exactly, but like 1 lakh, 1 lakh 1, 1 lakh 2, 1 lakh 3, and from means there are continuous data basically, right? You got that, or I have to explain basically what is the more in depth, like it.
No, I get it.
Okay. So tell me what kind of this data is age.
It's quantitative.
Yeah, it is a quantitative, but now in discrete data and continuous data, like what data type would you will classify them into? Discrete data or continuous?
Continuous.
I think again like age. Like we are talking about age, right? Age will be like 1. It can be max to max 100. Like not
Yeah.
right?
So discrete.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So this is a certain. It lies between a certain range, right? And you cannot
Yeah.
have age like 1.1. Like 1.1 age and don't make any sense, right? Normally,
Yeah.
talking normally. But if you talk about price, right? Price of an house, you can either say like a 7.1k. You may say 7.11k, right? This is continuous data, right? Like, okay. You may also say you basically don't have any range. So this will fall in your category of your continuous data. Okay. So this is basically a theory that you have to understand before jumping into any complex code or anything, because before that you have to understand what are these concepts, what are these terminologies basically, right? So once you get these, understand these things like in the few classes, then we will be going through some interesting code and we will be doing some great stuff, right, with machine learning or with some data science tools, right? Okay. Into and for now just we will be looking some theories and the Python code. Okay. So just to sum it up, like we have data, and inside data there are two types: qualitative data and quantitative data. Inside this quantitative data, again you have your discrete data and your continuous data. Okay. After this, once you get the understanding of your basically your data, what your data is, now we can jump into understanding some real world example. Okay.